to come. I guess it's my comment.
I actually seriously doubt that you mentioned. So you mentioned that like Tokyo burned the radioactive materials to equalize the burden, and that I've been reading the Nikkei newspapers, but I haven't read such articles. So I seriously doubt that. It is true that they were talking about bringing the radioactive or the breed, debris, yeah, of those contaminated area to like the Tokyo area, but it's not for burning those things. Of course, it's really dangerous. A lot of people live in Tokyo area, and like so that is something I want to mention. And so of course, like Japanese people tend to actually put emphasis on equality, but that is not the equality we're talking about is not achieved, is not the one to be achieved by lowering the better of people's welfare, but just try to raise the worth of the people's welfare. And so that is that kind of value is not just shared by Japanese, but everybody actually in the world. And similarly for bureaucratic things, and those like divisions exist in the U.S. too. But like in the last, I don't know, like maybe 5 to 10 years, Japanese politics has been in turmoil. So the problem was more serious than the usual in the period. That is true. But I hope this Noda administration is actually good for bringing the policies into place.
Bruce, you've seen Japan from both sides. Any comments on soft assets?
I'm not really sure I have anything to add here. I don't have a very profound knowledge at all of Japanese culture, but I think the point that you made that in a globalized economy, globalized world, there are going to be these pressures on all of us all the time. And every society is going to change. And hopefully, I think those of us that are inherently optimistic believe that these changes are in general for better. But they're certainly disruptive, and they're also probably unavoidable. I'm not sure I really have any more to offer than that simple observation.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Jamie Rosenberg. I'm a 2013 Master of Arts in Law and Diplomacy candidate here. My question is very short, and I'm curious about the perhaps differences of opinions of people on the board. Currently, the radioactive debris cleanup is being spearheaded by the Japanese government, meaning that it's being paid for with tax money. Do you think that that is the right thing to do? Rather, that is to say that the taxpayers are cleaning up as opposed to TEPCO.
In the spirit of free market.
Well, this has been an issue in the nuclear industry since its inception. If you have coal-fired power plants, oil-fired power plants, natural gas, there's really a limit on the damage that can follow from an accident. And I think people have recognized early on that there were different types of dangers from nuclear power plants. So you end up with a very difficult choice. You can say, if a private company owning and operating a nuclear power plant has an accident, it's their responsibility to compensate for the damage, and which might cause even a very large company to disappear. Then you have a problem, particularly when that company happens to be a monopoly utility. This has been an issue in the United States, and one of the questions is, if you don't find some way of dealing with this problem, you may simply make it impossible for the private sector to build nuclear power plants. And that may be the right answer. I would say no. Okay? But it's a very difficult problem, and it's not one that's easily solved by either traditional legal doctrine or by traditional economics. I think my bottom line response to your question is, if you can't find some way of socializing the risks, you probably won't have a nuclear industry. Okay? So, some of you may feel that the risks are great enough that that's the right answer. But if you want to have a nuclear industry, it's going to be difficult to do it if you can't find some mechanism for socializing the risks.
And TEPCO is dealing with decontamination and then recovery of the accident, and then they are compensating residents for their loss. So the TEPCO is they're taking the 100% burden right now because of the Japanese nuclear law. The nuclear owner of the nuclear power plant owner has to take care of any accident and consequences, basically. So, well, TEPCO, as Bruce was saying, go bankrupt without any help. But the TEPCO was a prime mover of the Japanese economy in the past by supplying relatively low, electricity, and taking the huge risk of the nuclear, huge risk coming out from the nuclear, accident. So probably TEPCO wants to survive as a private, trading company, not owned by the government. So this is the way we Japanese do. But I believe, it is a good idea. Well, TEPCO needs help from the Japanese public, Japanese taxpayer, Japanese government. With the help of that, TEPCO come to an upfront and then, compensate everybody. And then, they pay their, apology, pay their, sympathy to the local residents. This is what TEPCO do. But TEPCO keep its operation as the backbone of the Japanese, the industry. Right now, once the biggest company in the utility industry, the #1 in Japan and top level in the global utility industries, are downgraded to 6 or 7, much smaller than local utilities in Japan. So TEPCO is very, very small. So the Japanese government, the taxpayer, and other guys have to support TEPCO, and then have them take full responsibility.
If I could add just one more point, I think most people would agree that in the case of shared public-private responsibility, the pains of the private shareholders has to be severe. And I think if you look at what's happened to TEPCO, the share price has fallen by 80%, the dividends are gone, compensation, I believe, has been cut to managers. And so it isn't as though TEPCO simply goes on as it was before, and all of the responsibility goes on the Japanese public. I mean, TEPCO has, I believe the current term on Wall Street is a haircut.
Yeah.
And they got they're almost bald.
That's why I'm standing here.
Well, actually, the salaries to the usual employees to TEPCO were cut too. And so I have a different opinion. And this accident or the thing is so large that we should actually apply to something unusual. So I think it is beyond one company's capability. So we should really, so the government should take actually the lead. So I'm not sure how much we can trust government, but anyway, so not just government, all of the sources inside of Japan and outside of Japan should actually help, or the Japanese people should call for help from outside of the country too, to to fix those problems as soon as possible.